Daily Devotion with Pastor Balla for February 6th, 2025. Greater grace from James chapter 4, verse 6. But he gives more grace. Therefore it says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Grace is one of the greatest gifts God offers to his people. James reminds us in this passage that no matter how often we struggle, no matter how many times we fall short, God continues to extend his grace to us. This grace is not just a small measure. It is abundant, greater than all our sin, greater than all our failures, greater than all our weaknesses. Yet, there is a condition tied to this grace. James states clearly that God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. So what does this mean? It means that a heart that is filled with pride is resistant to God's work. You see, pride refuses to acknowledge a need for God's help. It stands in defiance, unwilling to submit to his will. Such a heart is met with opposition from God because pride seeks self-exaltation rather than dependence on God. On the other hand, humility is the key to receiving God's grace. A humble heart recognizes its need for the Lord. It acknowledges that without him, we are nothing. The humble person does not rely on personal strength or achievements, but places complete trust in the mercy and power of God. Humility is not weakness. It is a posture of surrender to the one who is truly in control. When we humble ourselves before God, we open our hearts to the richness of his grace. His grace sustains us in our struggles, forgives us when we fail, and strengthens us in our weaknesses. We cannot earn this grace, nor do we deserve it, but God freely gives it to those who come to him with a heart of humility. Consider how Jesus modeled humility. Though he was fully God, he took on human form, lived in obedience to the Father, and ultimately gave his life for our salvation. Philippians chapter 2 tells us that he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. Jesus did not seek his own glory, but rather submitted himself fully to the will of the Father. As his followers, we are called to do the same. If we find ourselves struggling with pride, let us ask God to soften our hearts. If we have resisted his grace, let us turn to him in humility, knowing that he is ready to pour out his mercy upon us. There is no sin too great, no past too broken, that his grace cannot reach. His grace is greater. May we continually seek a posture of humility before the Lord, that we might experience the fullness of his love and the richness of his grace. God's peace and many blessings be with you. And thank you for listening. And please take an opportunity to share this message with others.